Hello everyone, today we're doing a Touchdesigner tutorial on how to get this effect where you have text that sort of looks doodly. So let's preview it. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I did was I split the screen left and right, and then I opened the geometry viewer. So let me start with the text pop. I'm going to copy and paste that 3 times and then pick some text. So I'm going to pick random text and let's see. Okay, so I'm going to select all of these, and in connectivity I'm going to do lineStrips. And if I open my viewer, I'll select all of them. Right click, display dots. You don't have to do this. You could see that our dots are not evenly spaced. And to deal with that, we're going to use a line resample pop, which is a nice pop. If I show the dots, we're the same as before, but now if I do this and I increase this, as you can see, we have like a more even distribution. But there is still some problems. So if I copy and paste this, the goal is to blend these texts. So if I take these all into a blend, now I'll view this, and I blend by differencing. We have this problem where like the text is not, we lose some. The reason is precisely because if we look at our number of points, we have 408 points here, we have 510, and then we have 459. So we have all different numbers of points, and we can get some problems here. We can make it better if we convert these all into point primitives. It's still not going to be perfect. And if you play around with this and you pick different texts, you may be able to get it to work just by doing this, or maybe you switch between distance between points. And I just want to say this can work. It's working right now, but I know that it doesn't always work. Play around with this. You may be able to get your effect to work like this, and that's great. First, I'm going to drag a null from the blend. And I am gonna view this, and then I was viewing this, I turn that off. And I'll also fix my text. So we'll start with a constant chop. And I'm gonna name this total points. And we are gonna start with just like a big number. So let's start with 2000. You could see how your computer does. And then I always take it chops into a null. And what we are going to do is basically like try to scale. The code can determine how many divisions per line strip we need to get these to roughly the same amount of points in each text. So the way that we are going to do this is if I select all of my line resamples, we're going to use divisions per line strip because it's going to let us get something a bit more dynamic. And I'm going to click the divisions right here, and we're going to enter this Python code. And I'm going to change the constant to 1. I'll put that in the description. So this should pretty much do all that we need it to do. You can just copy and paste this, just make sure the null looks the same. Broadly, what this is doing is this is taking the number of line strips. We can get that information from going through whatever pop is connected to the input. We're checking the number of line strips, and then we're basically using that as the divisor or the denominator over the value we have here, which is going to give us something that is a bit more equal in points, not perfect. So let's see what I mean. If we click info, here we have 2008 points, here we have 2010, and here we have 2007. So we're doing a lot better than we were doing before. But it's still not perfect. It's better though. So if I play around now with my differencing, looks great. There is still like a little problem though. We have just a couple more points than we want. So I like to deal with this. You don't have to deal with this. So you just experiment and see how it looks. I'm going to take out a delete pop, and insert that by right clicking on that line. And I'm going to do that a couple more times. And I'm going to do it one more time. And now we can go through, click the attribute tab. I am going to click the more tab and do _point_I, which is the point index. And we can just like delete that by referencing our total points in here. And then this is less than, so we want greater or equal than. And then we can copy this reference and put that in, same thing, we'll do point index here, and then greater or equal than. Okay, now we have the same number of points. We have 2,000, 2,000, and 2,000. See, we lose a little of this. And the reason why we lose it in these like regular areas is because we're sorting by the point index. And so now with our blending, we're looking good. As you could see here, I deleted the points here. But because we're using a proximity pop, basically there ends up being no problem. Now, why don't we figure out how to blend without having to drag these things? So it's a pretty easy way to do that. I'm going to start by taking in a constant chop and copying and pasting that 2 times. And now in each one, I think we can make 2 channels in each one, and I'll leave them with the same name. And so as you could see, for our first one, we see these 2 values are 0. So for our first, we want to have this as 0, 0, which is good. For our second, we want to have it as 1, 0. And then for our third, we want to have it as 0, 1. So let's change this to 1, 0. And let's change this to 0, 1. Now let's drag out a switch, chop, connect them all. And then as you could see, in our index, as we go up, we get what we want. Let's now take that into a lag, and let's now take that into a null. We want to basically now figure out how to like switch between the indexes. So I've taken a keyboard in, like to use a null too for this. And then I'm gonna reference the null in the index, which is not exactly what we want because we need to insert a count before here. Connect that. Not sure why it didn't go through. And now the count is going to go up infinitely, but we only want it to go up. We have 3 indexes, so we're going to go 0 to 2 because this is an array. Pulse that. And now, as you could see, we cycle through our things as we like. So here, I'm going to click viewer active, and now we're just going to reference those 2 channels into our blend input. And look at that. Yeah, don't press the 1 key when you're looking at the geometry viewer. It creates an undesirable effect. After the blend, we're going to right click, and here's where the magic happens. Now we get a proximity pop, and we already basically, we have the effect basically. So proximity pop just connects nearby points. Play around with this. It actually looks pretty good. I did it again. But I think I want the maximum distance like just a little higher. Yeah, I like it. Like it a lot. Now we just want to make this a little noisy and give it some motion, so we add a noise. Right off the bat, I'll use abs time.seconds, which I try to stay away from, but it's just easy, and multiply it by 0.1, and just change some stuff. Turn down the amplitude, turn down the period, or turn it up, probably down. Okay, and now it's looking pretty good. One thing that we should probably go back is right click and select all of our texts, and then I've never done this in the pop, so we'll have to figure this out. Okay, so in the font, we want to align everything to the center, because pops tends to work in this -0.5 to 0.5 on all axes, so let's just do that. Let's get a geo. Let's create a camera. We're not going to need a light for this because we're just working with line strips. So Now I'm going to take line material. I'm just going to drag that on and do that. And now I don't want to see the geometry viewer because we could use top. So I'm going to switch that to the top viewer. And I'm going to take a render. And now I need to take a null. And I'm going to view the null. Right click. Turn off backdrop tops. I like squares. So in my render, I'm going to turn it into a 1280 by 1280 square. And then in my camera, I'll just change things, make the z-axis just a bit bigger and yeah, a little bigger. Just make this a bit brighter. In our line, sorry, my chair, I'm going to turn off specify far line color. And here's where you play with your width. Pick what you want. I actually like it better when it's kind of small, but we're going to change that when we do the background. Okay, so that's ready. Now let's create graph paper for the background. So in pops, grid is perfect for this. So we have a grid, and basically we could just turn this to lineStrips and we're basically done. So let's take this into a null, and then we're going to take this into a geo. And problem, we don't want to render this on this render, so instead of doing a wildcard, we just want to make this geo1, so it's just rendering this one. And then we want to bring out, we're going to need our own camera for this one. And now we also are going to need our own render for this one. We have wildcards, so let's switch this to geo2 and cam2. And now we'll visualize this one instead. And we want to render the same. And the size is wrong. And why is that? Well, because our camera is on perspective and not orthographic. So ortho width to 1, and we have it perfect. We want a line. It looks a little weird without the line, but it probably is going to look better with double the divisions. So let's do 20 times 2 and 40 times 2, because I definitely couldn't have figured out what those were. And we'll change this. And let's take a null. And now it's just really a matter of combining these two things. So I'll drag this over here. You could use a select top, probably better practice. Let's do a composite, and let's add them both. And then we'll do over, change this. Simply just wasn't visualizing it, so let's do that. We were looking at our graph paper, so let's turn that off. Okay, looking good. So now I want to actually create another null, extend our network, stop visualizing this, and I like to do the backgrounds with the transform. The transform, I'm going to click comp over background color, turn our alpha to 1 so there's no transparency, and it's hard to tell, but that's black. I like off-white a lot for this and for many things. That looks good. And now we got to change the color of this line, because we have our nicely colored background. Just do this as black. But let's just change it a little so it's looking better. I think I want the lag more, so I'm just going to change like both of these. Maybe a bit lower. Okay, that's good, but there is a way to make things look a little better, and noise is always kind of nice for that. So as we press our keyboard in, we also are going to want to apply some noise at the same time. So from here, take a null, and then I will create, I think, a math, and then I will take another null. We could just test what kind of looks good. So if I had this on, I think I want, that looks good. I think that looks good. So I want like maybe like 0.3, and then our baseline noise we want like 0.1. So with our math, I think, yeah, 0 to 1, so like 0.1 to 0.3. And as you can see, that's working, but I need a lag, as always. And that's looking good. Okay, so that's pretty much ready to reference in the noise. So I'll click the noise for my amplitude, do that. And now we have something that looks pretty good, like the other one. So I think part of the problem was our period was a little bit low, which is making it look a little spiky, which is cool. That's cool too. But I'm going to turn it up a little, which to me looked a little better. And also in our math, I think the baseline noise, I liked it a little bit better when it was smaller. And yeah, that's looking pretty much exactly like the demo. So let me add the squiggles just because it won't take long. All I'm going to do is grab this grid, copy and paste it, but instead of line strips, I just want point primitives. And let's actually just turn this down to like 7 by 7 or something. And just going to take some noise, animate the noise. Seconds times 0.1, apps time.seconds at 0.1, and now I'm just going to add a trail. And yeah, so change the trail length just like a little. Okay, and we want it to look a little more random. So maybe we'll do a curl 3D. Let's reset the trail. Yeah, pretty good. Make the noise just a little bit slower. And we don't need this many points, so let's just do like 3 by 3, really. And this needs to be reset every time we make a change. And that's good. So let's now just take that into a null, and then take the null into a geo. And for this one, we'll also do a line map, and we'll drag the line map on here. And for this one, we may be able to actually just render this in the render 2. So I'm typing Geo2 and Geo3 in here. Something cool, I think, actually, is if you like make one smaller, you get this kind of cool effect. So let's just say, hi. And we do these cool morphs between big and small. That's pretty much the effect. So yeah, if you make anything with this, please let me know. And there's a lot to do. I think with the line material, you can make a lot of stuff that looks like kind of cartoony. I played with like little circles instead of these things, and yeah, very fun. So show me what you do with this.